Welcome back to the first tarot reading of 2023. I'm cleansing the space right now. I always like to start the reading by saying, for my spirit guides, my angels, your spirit guides, your angels to come through and send any messages that need to be delivered for you guys in order to help guide you during your paths in this moment of time. I'm going to start first just by getting a general reading, a general energy read of what messages or situations Spirit wants to provide us. Ooh, wow, cards are flying. What do we have here? Alright. Spirit guides, any questions that we should be aware of? And let's get one more card to finish out this general reading. If the cards, oh, I flipped that one. Alright. So, to begin, we have the Strength card. We have the 10 of Wands. We also have the Knight of Cups and the Knight of Swords. So for starters, we have the Strength card. And the Strength card reminds us that through any trials and tribulations we may face this year, we have all the strength and power within us to be able to overcome those feats. And that actually directly connects to the 10 of Wands, right? Because as you can see in this card, he's carrying these logs on his back. He's taking them back to his village, showing the clear hard work that he's done in order to close the cycle of the suit of Wands, and reminding us as well that everything that we did in 2022 to bring us to the moment that is now, to you watching this video, was meant to teach us everything that we need in order to have the strength for larger challenges that will come our way. And that's clear to me because the Knight of Cups demonstrates this path to mastery of our emotions and how we're able to handle certain situations that deem challenging or that kind of draws to our last wits, right? Like, as you can see, he's on this white horse and he's moving in a forward motion in order to demonstrate his assurance, right? Because the cups have to do with our emotions. It has a lot to do with analyzing and assessing which emotions are going to help us in any given situation. For example, if you find yourself getting frustrated with a particular person or a situation and you realize, frustration, even though I'm feeling the emotion of frustration is not going to be the emotion that helps me like resolve this issue or resolves whatever is bringing me this anger, right? So the Knight of Cups reminds us that like we have to use discernment, and we have to kind of sift through the emotions that are worth acting on and the ones that aren't. And that actually directly connects to this 9 of Swords card, right? As you can see in his face, his posture, right? He has all these burdens of different situations or people that are kind of weighing him down, that are reminding him of those sleepless nights where you feel like, I don't know how I'm gonna get out of this. But the Strength card, right, the one that we started with, is our reminder that even when we're faced with all these swords around our head, there's something stronger, more powerful than just ourselves that's helping guide us through these situations. So that is just a general reading. I am going to get more specific by giving you guys different oracle cards to pick from, and those will be your more detailed and specific messages. Here I have 3 piles for you guys to choose from. We have pile 1, pile 2, and pile 3. I'm going to give you a moment to meditate over the cards. You can choose either based on numerology, 1, 2, or 3, or you can just close your eyes, meditate on the cards for a moment, see which deck which pile is calling towards you, and we'll look for your messages in a moment. Now, if you're used to picking piles with crystals on them, I've laid out 3 different crystals to help guide the messages meant for you. In the first pile, we have the Citrine crystal. I love this crystal because it radiates positive energy. And it reminds us, again, of that strength card. It reminds us of our inner strength, our inner positivity, and inner voice to make good decisions. And then we have here the Lapis Lazuli stone. This is another amazing stone that I personally love. This is a stone of success, power, intelligence, knowledge, wisdom. And then we have the rose quartz, which radiates love, also positivity. It radiates unity, peace, just contentment, feeling at ease. So again, I'm going to give you another moment to meditate over the cards, and we'll jump right in to your reading. All right, so for my first pile, the ones that chose the Citrine stone, we're going to start with your 2 Sacred Destiny Oracle cards. So first we have openness. Wow. That's incredible because I shuffled the deck intensely, and this card actually came out the other day for another weekly energy read that I did. So this is clearly a universal message that your spirit guides want you to take in mind. And then also diligence. Oh my gosh, that is unreal. These 2 exact cards came out the other day, and the likelihood that they would come out together is beyond me. But it also reminds me of the magic of readings, and when your team, your spiritual team, is really trying to enforce a message or send you a message for you to abide by. So then let's dive into it for a moment. So with this card, openness, as I mentioned in the other video I posted, this is reminding us to remain open on any situations we run into, and even relationships, connections with different people, new or old, and giving things a chance, right? The new year just started, so we have to kind of allow things to happen first before we can make a decision or decide how we feel about it. So this card reminds us to remain open and be aware of closing yourself off to something that you haven't actually given yourself time to try, or let it exist before like cutting it short. The diligence card, so the message that I'm still receiving for this is to make sure that you're following through on the actions necessary to accomplish the goals that you've set for yourself in 2023, right? Keeping that due diligence, persevering through any challenges like that 9 of Swords that we started with in the beginning, and really just making sure that you're looking at the details of any projects, looking at the details of any kind of events or situations that happen, right? If something in your gut is telling you, I feel like there's something being hidden from me, or something that's not entirely honest about a certain situation, do your due diligence and research in order to make sure that that unsettling feeling that you may be experiencing is maybe just an overthinking versus like something that you should actually keep in mind when it comes to the tasks necessary to achieve whatever goals you've set for this year. And then going into your self-care oracle cards. So these cards are more of self-care guidance from your spirit guides to help you start off the new year, maybe get yourself in a new routine. And we'll start with the Create Art card. So maybe you guys are actually already artists. Maybe you are already working on a project that you have set forth for this year, that you're like, okay, it's 2023, like I'm gonna go full throttle, like I'm gonna create more pieces of art, or I'm gonna draw more, whatever it is. Your spirit guides are encouraging you to create more art in any matter, even if it's content creation, right? Even if it's just like doing your makeup in the morning. The bigger message that I'm actually getting from this create art card, especially in relation to this openness card, is to remove any like rigid edges that you have kind of maybe created in your life, right? Allow yourself to like draw outside the lines, allow yourself to paint beyond the canvas, you know, like expand what you perceive the limits of a certain situation or project could be, to be able to find something new that could help elevate whatever it is that you're working on. And then our last card here is to write a gratitude list. So yeah, I mean, these two are actually very closely related, right? Because when you're creating art, what you're doing is actually expressing however you're feeling in that moment, right? And usually when people create art, yes, it's not always from a positive place, right? Some people create art out of pain, hence some of Picasso's, Van Gogh's art. However, when you write a gratitude list, it allows you to kind of get to the root of why you're feeling a certain way, or like amplifying the frequency of whatever it is that you want to manifest. So you could even do this in conjunction with each other. You could create a gratitude list, and then with that list, draw it out, or even write a poem, right? There are ways that you can be creative in a way that's not just like putting something on paper. So that is your message for pile 1, and I'll see you in the next reading. All right, for my pile 2s, for those of you that chose the Lapis Lazuli crystal, we're gonna start off with your oracle cards first, and then we'll get into your self-care oracle cards. So for starters, we have patience, and then we have embracing. So something that I'm already receiving a message on is that birds have some kind of significance in your life. And let's say, okay, maybe you're like, birds have no meaning in my life. Then this could also mean birds are a way that your spirit guides, your team, reaches out or tries to show you messages. Like if you ever have a thought pop in your head and then you see like a random blue jay that like usually you wouldn't just see anywhere, that's a sign from your spirit guides that the thought that you had or the emotions that you're feeling are correct, or that you're on the right path. So be mindful and embrace those moments, because that is the spirit realm sending messages to you in this dimension. So another thing that I want to mention about this patience card is some things are going to require you to wait before you decide, right? So especially starting the new year, right? Not being too hasty on making decisions, really planning things through, jotting things down, so that way you can create a process for whatever like large decisions you have to make, whether that's like putting down a large sum of money for a home mortgage or like any kind of financial decision. This is the message that's coming through, right? Especially since you did pick the Lapis Lazuli stone, right? This stone has a lot to do with material success as well, material wealth and knowledge and success, right? So those abundance is coming your way this year, if not this week, but you want to really be patient in the form or the way in which it comes in, right? You don't want to rush the process. You have to allow the process to happen on its own. And then when it comes to embracing, this is going to be that aha moment. This is going to be the moment where you're like, oh my God, thank God I held off on that decision, because now I'm in a much better place. Like I'm super happy, and you'll notice that things will fall in place a lot easier. All right, moving into your self-care oracle cards, we have Sing for you, and we have Deep Breathing. So, wow, it's amazing the synchronicity in these cards. So first, we'll start with the Sing. So Sing could literally just be singing in your shower, singing when you get dressed. Maybe it's not even really singing, maybe you're humming, right? But being able to add kind of a musical tone, a melodic tone to your voice actually helps channel and change certain frequencies within your energy. So it's actually said that when people sing, it elevates their frequency to a higher level because it puts them in this state of flow that reaches alpha and beta wavelengths of your brain. So that is highly recommended, not only just for fun, but for your overall spirit wellness and well-being. And then that is directly connected to the deep breathing because, like I mentioned before, let's say you are singing or you love to sing, good or bad, right? It requires a deep connection to your breath, right? Understanding when to take a breath and then when to follow through on a specific note, right? So connecting the two, right? The main overarching theme here is focusing on your breath when you're speaking, focusing on your breath when you're in stillness, when you're just silent, right? Because that's gonna actually inform you, as you can see in this photo, right? That's gonna give you more of a connection to things outside of yourself. That's where you'll have your realizations, your aha moments, your like interconnectedness, as you can see here, and like even just her facial expression and how she's holding her hand to her sacral chakra. So that is your self-care oracle message. But also to add on to this message from the beginning, the strength that it requires in order to do deep breathing properly and just be able to hold a breath requires so much inner strength and like inner will that the practice of doing this, you're gonna see a shift happen in other areas of your life. So this is highly recommended by your angels, your spirit guides, your team. So if you haven't already worked on deep breathing, I highly recommend it. And if you are a singer, this is going to elevate your capabilities, your abilities. So that is all I have for you today. I hope this message found you well. If it did make sense for you, if you felt connected to this, leave a bird emoji down in the comments so that way I know you made it to this part of the reading. Take care. All right, my pile of threes. This is your oracle reading for this part of the reading for those of you that chose the rose quartz crystal. So I'm going to start off with your oracle cards first, and then we'll get into your self-care cards. So for starters, we have thriving. Ooh, see, I already knew it because the rose quartz. Just such good vibes to begin. And forgiveness. Such good concepts to have in relation with each other. So getting into this thriving card, this lets me know that you're on the right path. You're already living in your truth, living in your magnificent, abundant, high frequency energy, right? So your spirit guides are just saying, yes, whatever you're doing, keep doing, it's working. And the more that you continue on with what it is that you've been working on, the more others are going to see, take note, and not necessarily reward you, but they're definitely going to take note. And that's going to elevate your purpose, your value, your just overall influence on those that are around you. And then in terms of forgiveness, this is, like I said, very in sync with the thriving card, because a lot of times what happens is when people start to hit a certain level of success or just good things happening, and then we start to get jaded or we start to disregard some of the undertones of our life. So the forgiveness card is really saying like, okay, everything is going well, you're doing well, but when there are moments where you feel like you're falling behind or you start comparing yourself to others, forgive yourself, because it's okay to feel those feelings, right? But it's not necessarily your reality, right? It's an illusion that's being shown to you about what you believe you could be doing more of. So this forgiveness card is really a reminder to allow yourself to make mistakes through the process. Like, everything is not going to be just like sunshine and roses. Like, there are going to be moments where even when you're thriving on the surface, on the underneath, sometimes you're like, oh, like I didn't get to like hit that particular goal this week, or you know, this person didn't follow through on this team whatever it is, right? You allow yourself to not judge yourself so harshly, and also not judge others that you might rely on for certain projects or friendships, connections, relationships. So that is your message there. And then with the self-care cards to keep in mind, we have pleasure, and we also have massage. Okay, so again, very connected in that these two items connect to your body. When you're thinking about how you feel, I would say the next thing to think about is, how does your body feel, right? Because our emotions, our experiences get held by our body. Like our body, oh, I love this line. Our body keeps score of all the things we've been through, right? So maybe your shoulders are getting super tense because you've been like, kind of like, you know, you've been working really hard on your laptop, and maybe you're not always working in the proper position, and so then when you get up, you're like, oh. So this is a sign, like, yes, the work you're doing is creating an outcome that's positive and that you're happy with and is pushing you towards those goals that you're working on, but the other thing is to really keep in mind of how your body feels when you're putting yourself through these certain challenges or putting yourself through this work. Whether that's a self massage, right? Like you can just get like a foot roller or something like that, or if that's like you actually scheduling in a massage for yourself, that is very important, right? Body work is just as important as the mental work. Not sure obviously what your routine is, but if you're someone who meditates, right? Think about meditating with like a hot cloth on the back of your neck, or just having some sort of, I don't know, like cushion for your sits bones or your back, right? Like having things that are going to support you through whatever work that it is that you're doing. And then with this pleasure card, this, yes, again, this is the physical aspect of what it would mean to pleasure oneself. However, this could also mean, what does pleasure look like for you in your life, right? Whether that's, you know, maintaining a healthy sex life, or if you've not, yes, I'm gonna say it, masturbated, right? How, or, you know, gone below, how are you going to give yourself its needs? And one of the things, or part of why I chuckled when this first came out, is because I feel like oftentimes in the spiritual community, a lot of people are like, oh, don't like have sex, like don't masturbate, don't do these things because it takes away from your like mental aptitude, which is true to some extent, but like we're also human, you know, like humans are going to be a little hedonistic in that they're going to want to indulge in sexual activities and things of that sort. So, you know, give yourself some space to, yes, if you want to have moments of not participating in anything and allowing your mind to remain clear and focus on that as your goal, then by all means. But if you're on the other spectrum of things, like maybe this is your sign to be like, are you actually in touch with how you feel, how your body feels, and how it feels when other people touch you? So these are things to think about. Again, I think the overall message here is making sure that you're in touch with your body. This could also mean even just doing yoga, right? Sometimes yoga is just as much of a massage and a stretch for your body, pleasurable, right? That sensation and feeling of stretching. So that could be another message for you. So that is all I have for you guys here. If this message resonated with you, leave a pink heart emoji down below so I know you got to this part of the reading, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.